Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Anew, Prospective. Today we'll be discussing about marriage. First, my name is Minister Mo, and this is my lovely wife, Minister Jessica. She had to correct. She was making sure I don't mess up, so she had to throw her name in there. But I got you. So today we're going to be discussing about marriage and the importance of marriage and coming to church, and we just gonna get into it and we just gonna break it down as we go. You guys will understand where we're going. But so today we just gonna be talking a little bit how we started and how we began as a couple, you know, and we just gonna talk about the way how the struggles and the ups, the downs. You know how it go in relationships when you first start. Everything be all smooth and all butter and lovey-dovey. Then when as time goes on, things get a little chaotic.
Minister, I must stop you because you're not talking about our beginning, okay? So we want to have a candid conversation. Candid conversation about marriage and being in church and yeah, so like he said, so I was just a glimpse into where everything began. We were very young when we started. I was about 17. He was about 19. Can you just picture that? 17 and 19. We don't know who we are. We don't know ourselves. And we don't know what we're carrying. And we ain't know our purpose. So can you picture a hot mess together?
Yeah, because it was crazy, though. I would never think we would be here right now, but I believe God brought this thing together because when we started, we was cool at first. Then we started going down a little bit, and things went left a little bit, and then I left. So but God just brought that thing around, man. And when things come back twice, that's something you gotta pay attention to that because God knows your purpose in life, and I believe she was a part of my purpose. So I believe God brought that thing back together for a reason and for his purpose, you know, because we together as a couple, we got work to do in the body of Christ. So I believe that's what God did. He brought us back together for a reason.
And I would say even with the bringing back, it was still, because we don't want to put out there that the bringing back was a walk in the park, because that would be far from the truth. When God brings something back, there is a work to do in it. So I would say the bringing back was just the beginning.
Yeah.
We didn't even know what was in store for us. When I just think about some of the things that we've gone through, death, life, financial, all those things can, most people will break up. And I remember times when we were on the brink of breaking up before we were even married. And then we were on the brink of divorce while being in church. Being on leadership, coming in Sunday after Sunday, smiling, saying hello. And it wasn't that we were faking.
Right.
It was just we did not know what to do in the place where we were. So I would say, speaking to that point, thank God for leaders that were able to have discernment to pick up on when things weren't right. And with that, it still took us to be able to look at ourselves. Because I don't know about you, I find that the shift for me in our marriage came when I stopped making you the problem and started looking at myself of what I play in it.
Right.
Because it's hard to get past stuff when you're just busy pointing the finger at the other person and not, in the meantime, not working on yourself. Because I know it came a point in our marriage where I was like, I'm going to be whole, no matter which way this goes.
I ain't gonna lie, I used to say that a lot. I'm gonna be whole. And I was be like, man, get yourself together.
Yeah.
I'm like, do it now, Lord. But listen, I used to be a mess too. And I think it was you that helped me too, to better myself and see things different. Because I started, when you used to be like, I don't want to be whole. I don't know about you, so I should be like, go be whole. And then I sit there and think, because, you know, in the heat of the moment of an argument, you're not thinking about, you're just thinking about self right now, you know, and you're not thinking about you. I'm not thinking about you, I'm just thinking about my feelings. But after I walk away, that's when the Lord started dealing with me. You was wrong, you shouldn't have said it that way, you should have been more concerned about her feelings and stuff like that. But I'm like, Lord, when you heard what she said, but the Lord always deal with you. You know, when things ain't going the right way, God always looking like, you the man of this house. You supposed to be, you supposed to set the standard. You the priest of this household. So how are you teaching your son? How you your daughter? You know, they all watching us.
Yeah.
So now I got to be more cognizant of things and how I deliver things and how I say things, because the kids, they listen.
Yeah.
You know they do, because you know when we used to have our little back and forth.
Man, and that was another thing for those with children, learning how to have disputes and disagreements and taking it away from the children.
Right.
Not involving them.
Right.
Early on, we were very guilty with indirectly involving our children and stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm glad to say that it's no longer the case. Right. We will be like, pause the conversation. Right. We'll kick them out the room. We don't care if they feel like they done been extra out. But it's really important while we are learning how to healthily problem solve and how to healthily communicate, because bringing it to the point what you just said, I've learned and I'm learning ways to listen to hear you and not listen to respond to what you're saying, because that kind of speaks to being on the defense, because it's hard to hear someone when you think you already know what they're saying.
Oh man, I was bad at that. I always thought you know how I used to be. I used to just jump in and say things. You know, like, you didn't even hear what I just said. You just going off at the mouth. And then sometimes you gotta do listen. The Bible tells us to be slow to speak, quick to listen.
Oh man,
and I was bad at it, because like me being arrogant, prideful, and all these things, like I was just more of myself, and I wasn't like thinking highly of her and how she feel and stuff like that. So like God got me all the way right in a lot of areas, and He's still working on me, and He's still working on my wife. And as we grow, I just see us doing great things, you know, and we going do great things in the body of Christ, like for the Lord, you know, doing His work.
Oh, and another point I want to say, where a shift came, that it's one thing to have your own prayer life, but it's another thing when y'all come together to pray. Yeah, so I would say
that's another thing. Yeah,
that was something early on in our relationship we didn't do, and once the kids came along, we used to pray with them in the morning, and then at one point that fell off. But we weren't praying together as the head of the house. And I don't know about you, I feel the difference in it, because that is spiritual warfare right there. Because listen here, I can tell the difference because you see, I'll come to you like, yeah, we need to pray. That's my main thing in the house when I'm saying that.
And I believe that's what kept things together. When we do pray, that thing right there, it changes things. It helps. Help us throughout the day, help us throughout life, and you could just feel the difference, you know. Like I just love when I do pray, and I just know that God got my children, my wife. Like I go to work, come home, like that's a blessing. This come home to a family, and because a lot of people don't have this. A lot of men, women, they searching for love, they searching for marriage, they searching for kids. They want that lifestyle, but a lot of times it's the work you got to put into it too. Like a lot of times people don't want the work; they just want the pretty pictures, the how everybody displayed to be. But some people don't see the ups and downs, what people had to do to get
the valleys
right,
and stuff.
right. Like they don't know what it took for a couple to get there.
Yeah.
They just seen the pretty pictures,
the fruit of it.
Right,
I would call that,
right.
Because you have to plow, you have to mold that thing, you have to sow in it, because it will be crazy to think that you're going to bear fruit from something that you haven't even sowed into, that you haven't even put your time into. I mean, because if anybody has ever grown anything, listen, it's going to look like some of them leaves is dying. He's laughing because I've been in this plant.
Don't talk about them plants. Them plants alone.
We planting over here, y'all. We are planting over here. Let the Lord just do something in you, minister. Yes, but no, seriously, because you seen the fruit of it now. You planting,
No, you're right. Definitely planting, and as we plant, I just see the growth I see the growth in you a lot too, because I know when I first got saved and I came in that house, I was like, I just got saved, you know.
Y'all, I used to tear this man down, okay? I'm gonna look y'all in the me. Won't the Lord just work things out in people? Look at this. Okay.
I always was encouraged, like, just keep going for the Lord, just keep seeking Christ, keep coming, just keep coming. And I kept going, man. I was coming to church. Before we was even married, I used to still come to church, faithful. And then I guess one day she said, I would come. I would come and see what the church is about. She said she didn't like it, she ain't going back. But I guess she found something that intrigued her, and she just kept coming.
Yes.
You know, so like, if you are out there and you're in a relationship, whether you're the male or the female, you have a husband that's at home and he's not beat for Christ, just keep coming. Continue to pray for your husband. Continue to love him. Don't beat on him, forcing him to do anything that's outside of his will, because God is not forcing him, so you shouldn't force him into something that he don't want. He gonna see your fruits by the way you live and the way you handle yourself. You know, so like, don't rush a situation, because just let God do his work.
Yes, I would definitely say, speaking to that point, because you didn't do that, but it was the stirring in me that would try to provoke you when you came home all filled, if I'll be honest. And I think, looking back, I thank God for hosting you in where you were, that you weren't moved by that, because maybe we wouldn't be where we at.
That's true.
Because if I would have left or worn you down enough, and either way, I would say we wouldn't be where we at. Yeah. So that's something to consider and to look at yourself and make sure you're not the problem, because it's very easy to point out the problem in other people. And listen, it's another thing, because you can have a valid situation, but how you handle it can invalidate everything. So that counts in a marriage. Meaning, I could be mad at Minister for doing something, but my approach, my response, and how I handle it would determine whether it invalidates the situation. And I think a lot of times, especially in a certain particular community, and and that's another thing, speaking to our childhood trauma that we brought into marriage. Ooh, the family stuff, the things that I know that, looking back now, were not, like, I wasted a lot of time and years in our relationship and marriage keeping them old mindsets. And I'm talking about the mindsets that I didn't even know were there. Like, that was so dormant or so embedded in me that I didn't know was there until we were trying to change. And something would be like, then I gotta ask myself, what is that about? Why you can't talk kind to him? Why don't you have any grace for him? Like, those are hard questions to ask yourself. Yeah. Even when I'm feeling like you don't have no grace for me.
Yeah, I think you seen the hardness of me, and that's why you came at me hard, because you like, he be alright, he can take it. But sometimes I be like, dang, this girl hard, tearing me up. But I just like want to talk about the trauma, the things that we was taught along the way. And a lot of times we bring in our mama issues, daddy issues, and that's why the Bible tells us to, like, when you meet, like when you get a wife, leave your mother and your father. You cleave to your wife, right? You cleave to your wife, and I think a lot of us get that understanding. We take that understanding out of context, because that Bible scripture out of context. When we say leave your mother and father, it doesn't necessarily like leave them, but about leaving habits and old ways of doing things, the way things that you was taught to do. You know, we leaving those things behind. So it's like God's bring husband and wife together so that they can build, you know, and
especially you as the head of the house, the minister of the house.
Right, and as being the man of the household, I got a big responsibility. I gotta take care of everything. Not to say that I'm the only one that's taking care of everything, but I'm just saying that we do.
Spiritually, you're responsible for all of us.
Right, responsible. And God is holding me accountable for everything. So you husbands out there, God is holding us accountable. So don't get it twisted.
And so that doesn't be daunting because, you know, for a lot of men, I'm not a man, but I would say for a lot of men that haven't probably seen it, that could be scary for them. And that's probably why some men probably. So speaking to that aspect, maybe you can, that'll be something that down the line, speaking to men that you can give another perspective because a lot of people run from it. Either they're running to it for the wrong reason or they're running away for the wrong reasons. Because running away is just a matter of not facing stuff. And most of the time it's ourselves that we're facing.
Right. But you basically saying, like, my men don't come to God because
No,
of
I'm
that.
saying what you just said might be a little, you know, might be a little scareman. I was trying not to use that word.
Scare man be
But,
coming to.
like, it's a lot of responsibility with how you saying.
Yeah,
I
I could say for certain men, it depends on how you built. You know, a lot of men don't mind being the priest of their house, taking care of their family. Because I know guys personally that love their family. You know, even
okay,
go work.
so on that part, you growing up, for yourself, I know for myself, I didn't see a demonstration of wives.
I didn't see that.
So I didn't know once I got in this place of what that entailed, what it really entailed.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times we don't know what marriage is or what it looks like because we didn't see it growing up. And if we did see a marriage, it wasn't all that grand, you know? So, like, we come into a marriage, we just trying to figure things out as we go, you know? But I feel like we should have an idea, a better idea than what we were shown about a marriage.
And that's important, and that's why we need the love of God in the midst of this, because without Him as the center and as the focus, we'll be out here like the blind leading the blind, because ultimately He is the lead, He is the guide in all of this, the guide, like guiding us along the way. And it's a matter of us surrendering to that, if you will, because sometimes you could be so stubborn, so stuck in your way, that you don't want to submit to what God's saying, because sometimes the Lord will press on my heart like, he had a tough day today. You may have been getting on my nerves, and the Lord like, show him some grace, you know what I mean? So, and that makes a difference because you don't had a tough day, you don't want to come home and I'm adding to it. So that's another thing I've learning in our marriage is creating a safe space. An environment and giving you a space for grace. So, and as wives, we really need to be conscious of being a thorn in our husband's side in the wrong way. In the wrong way. Because you don't want to, he's already fighting a lot out in the world. So the last thing we want him to come home in an environment that's supposed to be safe for him is now hostile. It is now somewhere where he'd rather go sit in his car before he come in the house, because he already had to decompress from the world. Now he got to decompress. And I'm not saying that he wouldn't be allowed those times, but it shouldn't be so constant where he's there but he's not there. And to be truthful, like, I know at times that was me. That was me. And thank God for the working on the inside, because when you take a look at yourself, sometimes you're like, woo.
Yeah, sometimes we need that step back to really look at ourselves, because we be, it gets real sometimes. Like, we do have to look at ourselves. And sometimes we always we want to play the blame game in a relationship. It be you all the time, though, like, because just think about it. The enemy will always show your wife's flaws, the wrong, everything she doing bad. You be up there fighting her in your mind and getting angry when she say something or she touches you. Like, man, don't touch me. What's wrong with you? Nothing. Just leave me alone. Like, and we doing all this for what? When the love of Christ is really in you, it's like you really would step back and look at the whole scenery and how everything played out. And you just start looking at it like, man, maybe it is me. Maybe I need to change. Maybe I need help. And then half of the time, that's as black men, we need help. And we need to go see people. We need to go talk. Listen, me too. I'm with y'all. So, like, if you dealing with old trauma and issues, or if your parents was married and it wasn't so grand, like, and you seen your mother abuse or whatever it is, and you felt like you brought that into your relationship, sometimes we just need to like go get help, get treatment, you know, because we can mess up a whole relationship. It's something that God has ordained. It's something that God has put together, and we could just tear it all apart. So we gotta be careful.
Self-sabotage is what I think.
Yeah,
Ooh, man, that was something else I was guilty of when I was younger. Self-sabotaging. And being older now, I look back and I ask myself, what was that about? Subconsciously, for me, I found that maybe somewhere along the line, I said, I didn't deserve to be married. And I know it sounds crazy, but somewhere along the line that became, and it was like, or not that everything was perfect, that it was too good to be true, but sometimes you destroy something with your own hands. Oh my goodness. Like, you mean how, you know how, oh man, the Lord is doing me like this, telling on myself, divorce. Oh my God, to the point where he was like, sign the papers.
hear that all the time. It's like,
oh Lord, self-sabotage. If that is your go-to, if you are a escapee, a runner, track star, whatever you want to call it, yes.
But to top it all off, listen.
I mean, it's. I don't even feel like we got to so many other things because finances, Lord, another time and place. So.
Nah, she's right, because I was bad with finances, man.
And not being able to learn how to talk about money.
And she used to be scared to talk to me about money, and I used to be coming on like, oh man, it was bad, because I used to buy whatever it is that I wanted. I didn't care how much it cost. Bills had to be paid. I remember it was one time, man, she went off, and she was right. I couldn't even get mad at her. I'm like, yeah, why did I buy that? And it was something expensive. And she like, you knew we had this and this and that. And she was like, she was done with me that day. Like, I was like, nah, she right, because like I should have been more focused on my household and what we need instead of what I want. You know, so like you gotta.
But to speak to that, even though you had a role to play in that, I had a role too. So that's why I mean, like, the coming together when you're dealing with your individual stuff and merging that stuff together, finding out how one another feel and think about finances is important so that y'all can come together. Because even though you may have been the spender, I may have been on the other side, and I always say, if we could find that, but
it got a lot better though.
Yes,
it got
oh
better.
my goodness,
It got better.
It's different.
Better. It's getting better.
Because before, listen, I would go try to sell a kidney before I had to talk to this man about money, okay? I mean, I know that's extreme, but at a point, that's just how it felt, you know?
Yeah.
But thank God for the change, like, seriously.
Yeah. It's all the Lord's doing. I'll tell you that, hands down, is God, because I never was a person to give my wife my check. And I know I'm stepping on some toes out there. But
y'all, he almost
passed out.
Died, DOA. Okay, I promise you. You almost had to bury him in the
stuff.
My
old check, like, this is something new.
Lord is.
But you just gotta understand what type of partner you have. And I knew I didn't have a money grubbing wife. You know, she don't want for nothing. And that's why if my wife wants something, I'm like, go ahead, buy it. I don't care. Like, how much? Don't worry about how much it costs. Just get it. You know, because I want to see you happy at the end of the day. Because I want you to go get what you want. You want your nails, whatever. Let's tell the people. She'll let you know if I'm lying.
No, you're not lying, but we know if I wanted to. But it's a good thing that now that's a place, because we know that hasn't always been a place. So I thank God for the change. Like, ooh, man.
She keeps saying, ooh, man.
No, because when you think, like, it's so many things flashing back, and I'm seeing myself in different seasons of my life. Yeah, and I'm almost looking like, was that me? Was that me? And I was in church, y'all.
Yep.
Wasn't on leadership yet, but I was in church. But this has been a good conversation. I'm glad that we're in this space, that we're able to openly and have this conversation, and I pray that it helps somebody. And who knows, in the future you might see us again.
We've been talking about this. I'd have walked off. I was like, I ain't here for this, man. But thank God for transformation. I thank God for his love, his compassion. I just thank God for being over our marriage. I just thank God for being over our children. He just doing great things. And I just pray to God that he do great things for you too, and that he'll keep your marriage alive. God bless.